Why do humans invariably occupy the rear positions in the galaxy? This was the question the Galactic Council's Cultural Integration Department head, Commander Vzix, was grappling with. Vzix tapped his 6 digits on the conference table in a rhythmic pattern. Another assembly dedicated to humans. Always humans. These newest members of the galactic community were proving to be quite the challenge. "Let's commence," Vzix declared to the gathered alien delegates. The subject for today, the unusual human tendency to gravitate towards the back seats in any shared gathering space. Senior researcher Pluto, a purple gelatinous entity who conveyed messages through color changes and vibrations, displayed signs of amusement. Perhaps they are engaged in some clandestine activity? Their past is indicative of a certain affinity for defiance. Indeed, Pluto. 4 billion humans distributed across 17 planets are all engaged in a coordinated plot? Vzix expressed disbelief. Does that strike you as plausible? Liaison Officer Cara Dumont, the sole human representative, sat in silence at the room's rear. "Officer Dumont," Vzix addressed her directly, "would you care to elucidate why your species seems to have a preference for occupying the back positions in vehicles, educational facilities, entertainment venues, and even council chambers? This conduct appears consistent throughout all human populations." Kara offered a simple shrug. "It's an ingrained behavior. I've never given it much thought." "Never given it much thought?" Diplomat Grashnak exclaimed, his reptilian features flaring with incredulity. "Your entire species exhibits this same behavioral pattern and you've never considered the underlying cause?" "Observe," Kara said, adjusting her uniform. "Humans simply prefer having a solid surface behind them and an unobstructed perspective of their surroundings. It's more agreeable." The assembled aliens exchanged suspicious glances. "Agreeable?" inquired Science Officer Zoltek, a slender insectoid whose antennae quivered incessantly. "Strategic advantage. Our data indicates that humans select rear positions with an 86.7% regularity across all settings." "This suggests to me a readiness for confrontation," General Vrex growled. The four-armed warrior species representative leaned forward. "A defensive stance with optimal visual coverage." Kara sighed. "You're overanalyzing." "Am I?" General Vrex rose, looming over the table. 3 standard galactic months prior, humans petitioned for structural alterations to the council chambers, requesting additional exit points. Now I wonder if there is any connection to this choice of seating. The room filled with a nervous energy. Vzix attempted to restore calm. "Let's refrain from hasty conclusions." "Perhaps," interrupted Security Chief Malbix, "we should initiate surveillance measures for human assemblies." "Oh, for goodness sake," Kara groaned. "We are not planning an uprising. Some humans experience anxiety in large groups. Some prefer easy access to restrooms. Some desire to leave discreetly. And yes, some simply feel more at ease with a wall at their backs. It's not a grand scheme." Vzix pondered Kara's response. It had a ring of truth, but his experience in xenopsychological studies had ingrained in him that cultural behaviors often had more profound implications. "What about the recorded events on Starbase Gamma 9? Inquired Ambassador Weldon, a bioluminescent being who hovered gently above his chair. "When the entertainment system experienced a failure during the diplomatic event, only the humans responded prior to the actual occurrence." Kara's expression changed subtly. "A coincidence." "The humans relocated from their positions along the back wall precisely 2.3 seconds before the power surge," Weldon continued, his glow pulsing with emphasis, "as though they foresaw it." "That's preposterous," Kara responded, but Vzix detected a slight elevation in her breathing. "What if," Zoltek theorized, antennae quivering, "humans have some form of threat detection capability, an evolutionary trait we've failed to recognize?" General Rex snorted. "Or they caused the failure themselves as some kind of test." "That's sufficient," Vzix interjected. "We require data, not unsubstantiated theories. I propose a formal investigation. Carefully controlled environments, diverse scenarios, and thorough monitoring of human physiological reactions." Pluto's purple form darkened with apprehension. Wouldn't humans detect such oversight? Their paranoia is well established. Not if we are discreet, Vasix responded. Officer Dumont, the Council would value human collaboration in this endeavor. Kara folded her arms. You intend to study us as if we were laboratory subjects, simply because we favor specific seating arrangements? We seek to understand our most recent galactic neighbors, Vasix corrected. Surely humans appreciate knowledge as much as we do. All right, Kara conceded, but I insist on participating in the design of the study protocols to ensure clarity. Agreed, Vasix nodded, meeting Officer Dumont's eyes. The meeting is adjourned until tomorrow. As the representatives exited, Vasix noticed something he'd never observed before. Every non-human species dispersed in various directions, while the 3 humans present all proceeded together towards the same exit, the smallest, least conspicuous door in the corner. Officer Dumont, he called after Kara, one further inquiry. She turned, her expression neutral. Yes, Commander? Why that particular exit? Is the most circuitous path to the transportation hub? Kara's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. An ingrained behavior, Commander. Later that evening, Vasix examined security recordings from the past year of council meetings. Every single human delegate, without exception, had opted for seats along the back wall. When multiple humans were in attendance, they distributed themselves at consistent intervals. They consistently appeared relaxed, often displaying boredom or disinterest, yet their eyes constantly scanned the room. Computer analyzed human gaze patterns during council sessions. The results were disquieting. While giving the appearance of paying little attention, humans tracked every action in the room. They registered new arrivals before they were announced. They noticed changes in patterns before anyone else. And, most concerningly, whenever any unusual sound arose, even minor ones like a dropped stylus, human attention snapped to the source an average of 1.2 seconds asterisk before asterisk the sound itself. That's not feasible, Vasix muttered. He sent an encrypted message to Security Chief Malbix. Initiate Surveillance Protocol Alpha 7. Focus, Human Precognitive Capabilities. Classification, Maximum Confidentiality. Across 17 planets and numerous space stations, humans continued their unique practice of occupying the rear positions, observing, anticipating. What were they anticipating? The Galactic Council was resolved to discover. So they are examining us now? Admiral Erika Takahashi inquired, leaning back in her chair at the clandestine Human Defense Council meeting. As if we are some intriguing new zoo specimens, Kara confirmed, projecting the surveillance detection readings onto the wall. They have deployed new sensors in all communal gathering locations, highly advanced. We would have overlooked them if Diego hadn't been conducting his standard scans. Diego Alvarez, head of counterintelligence, grinned. Amateur hour. Their technology is competent, but their placement is formulaic. Don't become overconfident, General Rohan Patel cautioned. The Galactic Council may appear inefficient, but they didn't unify 47 species across 3 galactic arms by being unintelligent. They are evaluating hypotheses. So what's our strategy? Inquired Dr. Lino Okafor, a kininoiologist and the group's newest member. Do we alter our conduct? Start occupying the front row like madmen? The room erupted in laughter. Even the typically reserved admiral couldn't suppress a chuckle. Can you envision that? Diego wiped a tear from his eye. Our billion years of evolutionary programming screaming danger behind you, and we simply disregard it for political expediency? The issue, Rohan said, sobering, is they are beginning to connect pieces we don't want connected. The occurrence on Gamma 9 was careless. Kara frowned. That wasn't our responsibility. Nobody anticipated the station's power grid to be so susceptible to quantum variations. Nevertheless, Admiral Takahashi interjected, we must exercise greater caution. If the Council uncovers that humans can perceive impending danger, they'd never accept the truth anyway. Dr. Okafor said, I have collaborated with 12 distinct xenobiology teams. None of them can conceptualize how human intuition operates, because it doesn't align with their comprehension of sensory systems. Let's maintain that situation, the Admiral nodded. The last thing we require is for them to realize we are all walking precognitives compared to their species. The diplomatic repercussions would be ruinous. Diego tapped his tablet, bringing up updated schematics. They are planning controlled assessments, simulated emergencies in public areas to gauge reaction times. Fantastic, groaned Kara. So we simply have to feign ignorance of approaching calamities? That will end well. Actually, Diego smiled, this presents us with a chance. We can control which facets of our capabilities we disclose. Dr. Okafor nodded enthusiastically. If we manage the data they gather, we could establish a revised normal baseline for human responses, just slightly superior to the average galactic citizen, but nothing disconcerting. Precisely, Diego continued. We permit them to document a modest advantage in reaction time, attributed to our evolutionary background as prey animals, on a death world, which is technically accurate. Dr. Okafor added, and they will cease searching for more profound explanations. Admiral Takahashi considered this. It's perilous. We'd require coordination with all human populations across settled space. One authentic response to a genuine emergency could expose our deception. We have maintained this secret since initial contact, Rohan reminded them. We can sustain it longer. Speaking of secrets, Kara said quietly, has anyone reported any recent incidents? The room fell silent. They all understood what she meant. Dr. Okafor cleared her throat. 3 instances last month, all confirmed. 2 on Terra Nova Colony, 1 on the Arcturus station. Same pattern? Inquired the Admiral. Identical, Dr. Okafor confirmed. Collective premonition event. Multiple unconnected humans experiencing the same threat perception simultaneously, across distances that should render it impossible. Any casualties? None. The mining operation on Terranova was evacuated 26 minutes before the methane pocket ignited. The Arcturus incident resulted in a rerouting of a passenger shuttle that would have intersected with an uncharted micrometeoroid cluster. Diego whistled. Growing stronger, then? More frequent, certainly, Dr. Okafor agreed. Stronger is more difficult to quantify. Admiral Takahashi rose and walked to the window, overlooking New Geneva. How long until they observe these statistical irregularities, humans consistently avoiding disasters that impact other species? They are already observing, Kara admitted. That's what initiated this investigation. We have been too fortunate. Not fortunate, Rohan corrected. Never fortunate. The Admiral turned back to face them. We need to experience some setbacks, controlled ones. The suggestion hung heavy in the air. You are suggesting deliberately permitting humans to sustain injuries? Dr. Okafor said, appalled. I'm suggesting carefully orchestrated incidents with minimal harm, the Admiral clarified. If we appear excessively invulnerable, excessively prescient, we become a threat in their eyes. Or a resource to be exploited, Diego added grimly. I'm not certain which would be worse. There must be an alternative, Kara insisted. What if we... The room's emergency console suddenly flashed red. Every human present turned towards it simultaneously. Asterisk before asterisk, the alert actually sounded. To the point, Rohan said dryly as the alarm commenced blaring 2 seconds later. Diego checked the terminal. Seismic activity detected beneath the city. Minor tremor predicted in approximately 4 minutes. Nothing significant. The Admiral observed. Natural phenomenon. No casualties anticipated, but ideal for a demonstration, Kara realized. The Council representatives are convening their cultural exchange banquet 10 blocks from here, with sensors operational, Diego confirmed. Here's what we shall do, Admiral Takahashi stated. Decision finalized. Kara, return there immediately. When you perceive the tremor approaching, which will be before their instruments detect it, pause. Count to 5, then react. Make it appear as though you are responding to subtle vibrations a second before their equipment registers them. Provide them with a quantifiable advantage that seems reasonable. Dr. Okafor nodded, understanding. Precisely. Allow them to document human sensitivity to seismic activity. It's a plausible evolutionary characteristic for a species originating from a tectonically active planet. I will coordinate with other humans at the banquet. Kara pledged, heading for the door. Remember, the Admiral called after her. 5 seconds. Not 1, not 10. We require uniformity. As the door closed behind Kara, Admiral Takahashi turned to the remaining council members. We have concealed what distinguishes us for decades. We may need to contemplate the prospect that we cannot maintain this secret indefinitely. What then? Inquired Rohan. Then, the Admiral said solemnly, we'd better hope the galaxy is prepared to comprehend why humans invariably occupy the rear positions in the room and what we are all subconsciously anticipating. The tremor incident unfolded precisely as planned. Human reactions were perceptible but not preternatural, perplexing to the Galactic Council but not disturbing, just as Admiral Takahashi had intended. They commenced formulating theories regarding heightened human sensitivity to vibrations. They have scheduled 6 additional assessments, Diego reported at the subsequent Human Defense Council meeting. Simulated fire alarms, power failures, atmospheric pressure fluctuations, all designed to gauge our reaction speeds. Are we sustaining the 5-second delay protocol? Inquired Dr. Okafor. 4 to 6 seconds, varying by individual, Diego clarified. We don't want to appear excessively uniform. Admiral Takahashi nodded approvingly. Excellent. And the collective? Precognition events? Down by 30%, Dr. Okafor stated. Either the phenomenon is naturally varying or our conscious suppression efforts are yielding results. Both likely, Rohan suggested. The more we recognize and comprehend this capability, the better we can regulate it. For weeks, their strategy functioned impeccably. Humans throughout Council space exhibited marginally enhanced situational awareness, nothing that couldn't be attributed to evolutionary advantages from Earth's challenging environment. The Galactic Council's curiosity began to diminish as they gathered predictable data. Then came the Proxima Centauri incident. Unmitigated catastrophe, Kara fumed, pacing the emergency session. Every single human on that station evacuated to escape pods simultaneously, 15 minutes before the reactor exhibited any indications of instability. Casualty report? Admiral Takahashi inquired. 0 human casualties, Diego confirmed. 37 non-human injuries, 12 severe. No fatalities, thankfully. How many observers? Over 2,000 plus security recordings from throughout the station. Diego projected the footage displaying humans abruptly abandoning meals, workstations, and medical procedures, all moving with urgent determination towards escape pods. No way to conceal this, Rohan declared flatly. Too many observers, too much evidence. The Council is in emergency session presently, Kara added. I have been summoned to provide testimony in 2 hours. Admiral Takahashi closed her eyes briefly. Alternatives? We disclose the truth, Dr. Okafor suggested. A partial truth, at least. Acknowledge that humans possess precognitive capabilities, but downplay their consistency and range. They will fear us, Rohan countered, or worse, attempt to weaponize us. They already fear us, Kara pointed out. This merely confirms what many suspected. There's another complication, Diego said hesitantly. The Proxima event wasn't isolated. We have recorded 47 concurrent reaction events across human space in the past 8 hours. Something significant is approaching. A heavy silence descended upon the room. Define significant, Admiral Takahashi finally said. Diego exchanged glances with Dr. Okafor before responding. More substantial than anything in our recorded history. Whatever is triggering these premonitions is, at minimum, an extinction-level threat to humans. To everyone, Admiral Takahashi stood abruptly. Change of strategies. Kara, when you provide testimony, disclose everything. The complete truth regarding human precognition, including the collective events. Everything? Kara looked astonished. Everything asterisk except asterisk, the recent escalation for now. They will demand substantiation, Rohan cautioned. Allow them to conduct their assessments, the Admiral replied. The more they comprehend how our capabilities function, the more inclined they will be to believe us when we caution them about whatever is approaching. Caution them about asterisk what asterisk? Dr. Okafor inquired. We don't know what the threat is. Not presently, the Admiral acknowledged, but when we ascertain it, we will require allies, not interrogators. 2 hours later, Kara stood before the assembled Galactic Council, elucidating humanity's most closely guarded secret. It's not sorcery or technology, she informed the stunned assembly. It's a type of temporal perception we don't fully comprehend ourselves. Humans perceive peril moments before it manifests, an evolutionary adaptation from Earth, where predators and natural disasters were constant threats. Precognition is scientifically unfeasible, Science Officer Zoltek insisted, antennae rigid with disbelief. According to Asterisk, your asterisk understanding of physics, perhaps, Kara conceded, but the evidence is irrefutable. Examine the Proxima Centauri footage. Conduct your assessments. You will observe that humans consistently react to threats before they materialize. If this capability is genuine, Commander Vasix inquired, why conceal it? Wouldn't you? Kara countered. We are the newcomers here. How would you have responded to a species capable of perceiving future perils? With extreme circumspection, General Rex acknowledged. Precisely. We feared being perceived as excessively dissimilar, excessively perilous. Yet you occupy the rear positions in rooms, Ambassador Weldon observed, his bioluminescence flickering thoughtfully. You position yourselves to observe everyone. These are not the actions of a species endeavoring to appear innocuous. Kara explained, some behaviors are too deeply ingrained to camouflage. When you can perceive peril before it transpires, you develop practices that optimize your survival prospects. Occupying positions with your back protected, observing all entrances, noting all escape routes, these become instinctive. This elucidates much, Commander Zix acknowledged. The statistical inconsistencies in human casualty rates during incidents, your species' uncanny capacity to avoid calamitous investments and political blunders. We are not infallible, Kara emphasized. The perception functions most effectively for imminent physical perils. It's less potent for intricate or distant threats, unless numerous humans perceive the same peril concurrently. Security Chief Melbix interjected, consulting a datapad. We have identified 23 incidents where human populations reacted collectively to threats. The Proxima Centauri evacuation is merely the most recent illustration. Kara hesitated, taken aback by their knowledge. Yes, that occurs sporadically. What precipitates these collective responses? Inquired Vasix. We don't know, Kara admitted. They are infrequent and unpredictable. Are they? Malbix challenged. Our analysis indicates escalating frequency over the past standard year. Kara felt a cold apprehension forming in her stomach. How had they amassed this data? Human Representative Dumont. Commander Vizix leaned forward, all three eyes focused intently. Is there something approaching, something sufficiently perilous to trigger extensive precognitive responses among your people? The council chamber fell silent, every alien delegate observing her with newfound comprehension and newfound apprehension. Before Kara could respond, the chamber's emergency lighting activated, not for an imminent threat, but for something far more dire. A galactic-scale alert. Commander, a communications officer interrupted. We are receiving distress transmissions from the Epsilon Sector border outposts, all of them concurrently. Cause? Vizix demanded. Unidentified, sir. Communications are fragmentary, something concerning darkness between stars moving anomalously. Every human in the chamber turned towards the direction of the Epsilon Sector, in flawless synchronization, despite it being many light-years distant and through numerous walls. That, Kara said quietly to the stunned council, is what we have been perceiving and why we invariably occupy the rear positions, observing, anticipating, because occasionally the peril isn't solely to us, it's to everyone. What precisely are we confronting? Commander Vazix demanded, his customary bureaucratic demeanor supplanted by military decisiveness. The Galactic Council's Emergency Command Center throbbed with frenetic activity as reports poured in from the Epsilon Sector. Holographic displays depicted outpost after outpost vanishing. Unidentified entity, General Rex reported. Outpost sensors detected anomalous void regions, areas where stars simply vanished from observation. Upon investigation, those regions shifted asterisk. Shifted how? Ambassador Weldon inquired, his bioluminescence dimmed with apprehension. Unlike anything we have ever encountered, Science Officer Zoltek conceded. It doesn't reflect light. It doesn't emit energy. Our instruments can detect it only consuming. Kara stood with the other human representatives, all positioned against the rear wall of the command center. None had consciously chosen to do so. They had simply gravitated there instinctively. You were aware, Commander Vasek stated, approaching them. Not of the specific threat, perhaps, but that something asterisk was approaching. That's why human precognitive events have been escalating. Admiral Takahashi, who had arrived via emergency transport, nodded solemnly. We suspected the pattern was indicative of extensive threat perception without an identifiable trigger. But asterisk, why asterisk? Demanded Security Chief Malbix. Would you have believed us? Admiral Takahashi inquired simply, without substantiation, without comprehending our capabilities? The accusation lingered in the air until Commander Vazix shattered the tension. That's immaterial presently. What matters is whether your precognitive capabilities can assist us in combating this threat. They might, Dr. Okafor stepped forward, but you must comprehend how human precognition genuinely functions. It's not perceiving the future, it's perceiving peril, specifically, and it's most potent when the threat is proximate. So you cannot inform us what this entity is or how to vanquish it? General Vrex growled. Not presently, Admiral Takahashi conceded, but as it nears, our awareness will intensify, and there's something further you should comprehend. When sufficient humans perceive the same threat concurrently, we occasionally receive impressions, fragments of comprehension. Elaborate, commanded Vasix. Diego activated a display exhibiting neural activity across human settlements during collective events. Human brains synchronize in specific patterns. We are already observing unprecedented synchronization levels across all human space. Meaning what precisely? Inquired Zoltek. Meaning, Kara stated, that presently 4 billion humans across 17 planets are all perceiving the same approaching peril, and our collective consciousness is commencing to comprehend what we are confronting. It feeds on energy, Admiral Takahashi stated abruptly, her eyes unfocused. Any energy, thermal, electrical, biological. That's why outposts vanished. It consumed their power sources initially. How could you possibly know that? Malbix demanded. Because I can perceive it, the Admiral replied, her voice distant. We all can, like a frigid void, ravenous, ancient. It evolved in the profound darkness between galaxies. It's attracted to civilization's illumination. The alien representatives exchanged alarmed glances as other humans in the room commenced nodding in concurrence, their expressions similarly distant. A Gestalt consciousness, Dr. Okafor elucidated to the bewildered aliens. When sufficient humans perceive the same threat, we become a temporary collective mind, concentrated on survival. Fascinating and terrifying, Zoltek commented, antennae quivering. But I fail to perceive how this assists us in combating the entity. Conventional weaponry will be futile, Rohan declared with absolute assurance, though he couldn't elucidate how he knew. Energy weapons would merely nourish it. Physical projectiles would traverse through it. Then how do we combat it? General Rex demanded. The humans looked at each other, a silent communication passing among them. We don't combat it, Kara stated finally. We reroute it. The entity is drawn to energy, Admiral Takahashi elaborated. Presently, it's heading towards populated systems because they radiate most intensely. But if we generated a more enticing target, a snare, Commander Vazix realized. But what energy source could possibly allure something that consumes entire outposts? A star, Diego suggested. Not just any star, an unstable one, poised to become supernova. Science Officer Zoltek's compound eyes widened. Epsilon Vorax. It's been in a pre-supernova state for decades. We have been monitoring it meticulously. If we could initiate the supernova while the entity is consuming the star... Admiral Takahashi commenced. The ensuing explosion would either annihilate it or propel it back into the profound darkness, Zoltek concluded, antennae quivering with exhilaration. It's theoretically achievable, but the timing would necessitate utmost precision. That's where we intervene, Kara stated. Humans can perceive the entity's movements. We will know precisely when it commences feeding on the star. For the first occasion since the crisis commenced, Commander Vazix's expression displayed hope. You are proposing an integrated response, Galactic Council technology guided by human precognition. Precisely, Admiral Takahashi nodded. Your scientists comprehend how to initiate a supernova. Our people can inform you precisely when to trigger it. And subsequently, Ambassador Weldon inquired, if we endure this threat, then, Admiral Takahashi stated with a slight smile, perhaps the galaxy will ultimately comprehend why humans invariably occupy the rear positions in the room, not out of discourtesy or scheming, but because for 4 billion years, our ancestors endured by observing the darkness, perceiving peril before it materialized. The strategy proceeded with remarkable effectiveness. The Galactic Council deployed their most sophisticated stellar engineering vessels to Epsilon Vorax, equipped with Nova-initiating devices. Simultaneously, the Human Defense Council established a network of sensitives, those with the most potent precognitive capabilities, to monitor the entity's progression. 3 days later, they perceived its arrival at Epsilon Vorax. Now, Admiral Takahashi commanded, the words concurrently echoed by 4 billion humans across 17 planets. The stellar engineers initiated the supernova, unleashing energy on a magnitude beyond comprehension, directly into the feeding entity. The ensuing explosion was perceptible across 3 sectors of space, a dazzling cosmic pyrotechnic display that momentarily outshone entire galaxies. When the radiance subsided and sensors could function anew, there was no trace of the void entity. Did we annihilate it? Commander Vazix inquired. No, Kara replied, conviction in her voice. We impaired it, propelled it back into the darkness between galaxies. But someday, it, or others akin to it, will return. How can you be so certain? Zoltek questioned. Because we can still perceive it, faintly, Admiral Takahashi elucidated. And because this is what human precognition evolved for, not solely for imminent perils, but existential ones. Our ancestors endured ice ages, supervolcanoes, asteroids, threats that should have terminated our species. We evolved a capacity to perceive catastrophe before it transpires. This elucidates much regarding human conduct, Vazix mused. Your species' restlessness, your constant readiness, your impetus to expand beyond your home world. We are perpetually anticipating the subsequent calamity, Rohan acknowledged. It's ingrained in our genetic code. In the ensuing months, human integration into galactic society transformed dramatically. What had once been perceived as unusual behavioral peculiarities were now acknowledged as valuable survival mechanisms. Joint human-alien research teams commenced scrutinizing precognition in earnest, endeavoring to better comprehend and perhaps artificially replicate this remarkable capability. And in meeting rooms, classrooms, and gathering spaces throughout the galaxy, novel seating configurations emerged. Prominent visitors and dignitaries still claimed the front rows, but the most strategic positions, those with the optimal perspectives and swiftest access to exits, were now designated for humans. It feels peculiar, Kara commented to Commander Vazix months later, as they observed a diplomatic reception, not having to conceal anymore. Your people possess unique endowments, Vazix acknowledged. Endowments that preserved uncountable lives. Though I confess I'm still adapting to the notion of humans as the galaxy's preemptive alert system. Simply remember, Kara smiled, when you observe us all abruptly gazing in the same direction, flee, Vazix concluded, with his own rendition of a smile, preferably in the contrary direction. Precisely. Across the reception hall, a cluster of human dignitaries had positioned themselves along the rear wall, observing the assembled aliens with vigilant eyes, not scheming, not judging, simply enacting what 4 billion years of evolution had programmed them to do. observing, anticipating, perceiving. And for the first time, the remainder of the galaxy comprehended.